Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
8:06 now on O'Connor and Company. Thanks for tuning into a busy Tuesday morning. We're on top of all of the stories that matter most to you, and we're delivering that news in a way that hopefully you appreciate. It's Larry O'Connor alongside Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
Joining us right now is Dr. David Samadi. Now, not only is he one of the nation's top experts when it comes to prostate cancer, but he also was, by the way, a frequent guest on this program, at least with me, during the pandemic, during the lockdown, because he was a sensible voice during unsensible times. He was so good that, of course, social media tried to cancel him. That tells you how good he was. And he's got a new book out called Prostate Cancer, Now What? Dr. David Samadi, it's good to talk with you again, sir.
Good morning. Good to hear you guys, and good to be back.
So, obviously, we want to talk to you about this revelation that President Biden is suffering from a pretty advanced stage of prostate cancer. At least it seems advanced based on how it was described. Is that a good way to describe that this has been there for a bit?
Yes, it is a very aggressive prostate cancer.
Okay.
This is not a normal finding of prostate cancer in this country. Typically, I see patients like this when they come from Middle East, where a lot of countries, third world countries, where they are not doing PSA screening, and the patients have gone for many years without any tests. This is not what we see in this country. Almost maybe 7 to 10% of the patients present like this at a high stage with metastases, etc. So it's a very unusual presentation.
Well, thank you for going there, because that was going to be my next question. I mean, I'm an adult male of a certain age, and I know when I get my physical, one of the tests that's done with my when they take blood from me is the PSA test. Now I'm hearing some people coming out and saying, "Oh, well, when you reach a certain age, it's not unusual to forego the PSA test." Why would that? Why would anyone do that? I mean, it's no harm, no foul. They're already taking the blood.
That's right. So you're bringing a very important point, and I think people have to be their own doctors, and they need to be aware that, especially if you have family history of prostate cancer, you should start getting your PSA around the age of 40. Now, a lot of times they say start at 50, but I think it's too late, because we're seeing a lot of aggressive cancers, especially after pandemic. Whether it's related to vaccine or not, nobody knows, but they're coming with aggressive cancers early on in their 40s. And by the time you wait until you're 50, you may have a disaster. So that's what I would say. They also say that after 70, you can slow down with these PSAs, and it's not necessarily true, because people are going to their 80s and 90s. They're living longer, so we need to know about this data. Having said that, being a president of a country, having so many doctors around you, a team of doctors that constantly watch you, it's very strange to see that someone has gone for many years without PSAs or getting checked. As you know, they announced that there's a nodule. A nodule is a firmness on the prostate that shows that this has been developing for many years. And he probably has had this for years, because it takes time for Gleason 9 prostate cancer to develop. When they give a letter in 2024 that he's in really good health and there's nothing going on, you don't develop this kind of cancer within a year. This has been going on for many years. As to when he was diagnosed, what we know, and everything else, that falls in the political aspect. But for medical standpoint, it takes years for this to grow, and the PSA and digital rectal exam and MRIs are the best way to detect this.
Doctor, you talked about the level of care of someone as important as the President of the United States. And yesterday, there was a doctor on CBS News talking about how I can't even believe she said this, but she said, they probably didn't do this test because the White House wanted to save money since he was over 80 years old. Have you ever heard of that? And also, this can't be that expensive to take a test like this.
That's
but I'm
correct.
just wondering about your reaction to that statement.
Well, I can tell you that in my practice, I've been taking care of few presidents, and there's never one doctor. It's a consortium of team of doctors that take care of this. And you don't stop at a certain age, because if he has such an important job, spending $30, $40, $100 on a PSA test is not important. Now, it's also true that as we get older, 50% of men over age of 80, they may have prostate cancer, but those are slow-growing disease that we don't need to treat, and they may die from something else. Having said that, when you have such an important person at a high-level work in the White House, that his health is important from head to toe, mental health, psychologically, cardiac, every blood test and every point is being watched by so many doctors. Yeah. So for me to say, like, oh, we don't get PSA is not acceptable.
Yeah. All right. So, again, we're speaking with Dr. David Samadi. His book is Prostate Cancer, Now What? He's based in New York, board-certified urologist, robotic surgeon. He specializes in prostate, kidney, and bladder cancer, and he is one of the top prostate cancer experts in this country. So based on all of that preamble, Dr. Samadi, as I give your entire CV here, based on everything that you have heard about the nodule, about the fact that it spread to the bone and metastasized, all of that stuff, and assuming that President Biden, as President of the United States, was given, because we were assured he was given, a thorough health checkup on a very regular basis, based on all of that information, how long do you think this condition has existed with Joe Biden?
I think probably years, at least 7 to 10 years. It's a poor prognosis, and at this point, surgery is not a good option. Or radiation. He has to go on hormonal treatment that's going to reduce the testosterone. And it's not a cure. This is going to reduce the progression of the disease, and it's going to slow down the disease. And as long as it's sensitive and respond to the hormone, he will do well, even though there are a lot of side effects with these hormonal treatments, and menopausal symptoms, and even affect his mental health, etc. But that's the best. And if it doesn't work and it becomes insensitive, then chemo is the way to go. Now, for a lot of your listeners, prostatecancer911.com is where they can go and ask questions if they're diagnosed with prostate cancer, because this has become so confusing for people. Yeah. They can go to prostatecancer911.com and ask their questions, and I'm happy to answer them personally and directly because of the confusion that is.
Thank you for that, because I am concerned that there's sort of strange misinformation and also sort of like suddenly this unnecessary stigma about this, the fact that he wasn't getting tested and didn't thoroughly screen. It's such an easy thing to screen for, and there's no reason not to. Dr. Samadi, you just said something that inspires another question. You talked about hormone treatment. Now, again, the official word from President Biden's team there is that this was discovered, I believe, a week ago is when they got this prognosis, but the diagnosis, excuse me. But at the same time, the statement was that they have discovered that he is responding well. This cancer responds well to hormones. Is it possible within just a 1 week window for them to know already that this cancer? Okay, go ahead. Finish.
No, you cannot, have the nodule, have the diagnosis, have the stage, even though they are moving at a very rapid speed, if this is all correct, within 1 week, and treatment, and also knowing that it's responding. Now, of course, majority of patients do well with hormones for a while, and we assume that he probably will respond. But the only way to know is after you give these injections is to see the PSA coming down, and it has to go down all the way down to 0 level. So
So let's put 2 and 2 together here, because you just said he's probably had this for years.
Right.
The statement from the doctors this week was that this cancer is responding well to hormone treatments. You just said hormone treatment is the right treatment for him based on the diagnosis that you've seen. Correct. You also said that hormone treatments can have some severe side effects, including, I believe you said, some memory loss and some cognitive loss. So again, let's keep putting 2 and 2 together here based on the president's behavior and what famously now is some concerns over his cognitive decline. Would it be fair to assume that he actually not only has had this diagnosis, but he's actually been receiving treatments while he was president?
Well, we don't know. I mean, it's possible. We're speculating right now because I'm not his doctor. We don't have the access to his medical records. But that's certainly a possibility. I mean, he may have had the cancer. He's had some treatment, and perhaps the treatment stopped working, and now it's presenting itself as a late stage 4. So that certainly could be one scenario. Or it could have been a low prostate cancer or medium, and they watched it for a while, and they thought that it's not important to bring it up because of political reason, and then it turned out that it escaped either through COVID or he rejected to get the test, and we are where we are. So there could be many different scenarios, but it's a very difficult situation for him. And, of course, we wish him well, and I hope he does well.
Agreed. And it is always hard to sort of balance the human element of this discussion with the
Correct.
obvious political element of this discussion. And, frankly, national policies that we must reflect on and adopt properly and enforce if we're going to have a free, open, and transparent republic. And it just occurred to me that the very symptoms of this hormone treatment that you were describing is certainly some of the behaviors that we've witnessed from Joe Biden over the last several years. It's been in the news quite a bit over the last week. Dr. Samadi, thank you so much. And I hate speculating too, but that's all we're left with here because of the lack of transparency, number one. And number two, if you're going to speculate, how about having one of the foremost prostate cancer experts like Dr. David
I appreciate
Samadi?
that. You've always been so kind, and don't forget to send me your PSA. I got to make sure that you stay healthy and well.
Dude, I you know what? I'm due for it, and I might send it to you for a second opinion.
No, I'm
You're
serious.
the man.
As I told you, like that prostate cancer 911, go ahead and send me your information. I'm the only one that gets that, and I call back the patients. And the whole purpose of this, and your program has always been great, whether it was during COVID or now, is to help people and save lives. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you, doctor. It's great.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
great day. You're welcome.
8:17. And Meredith and my children appreciate it, too.